Good evening, everyone. We are so excited to be here with you on our final week of FestivalSouth Reimagined. It's hard to believe that June has flown by so quickly. In fact, as we were putting this together, we went, really? It's only a couple of more that you have a chance to be with us, and we have a chance to be with you. We are so grateful you're watching tonight. We have an incredible evening planned for you. Tonight, Jeff McClellan, an organist, will join us. He's going to talk about the anniversary of the Holtkamp organ, which is an organ that's installed in Marsh Auditorium on the Southern Miss campus. John Madeir, an electronic looping person. I'll tell you more about that when we get there. And some wonderful music all evening from them. You make sure when you're watching this video that you like us, that you love us, that you share with somebody. Tell them all about the fun things that are happening at Festival South. If you're watching this after the fact, please like and love and share with somebody, as we're finding that while we don't have as strong a viewership sometimes live, boy, are you really eating this up after the fact, and we appreciate that very much. We're getting messages from all over the country, and we're glad that Festival South has sort of extended its borders beyond Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Again, we are so thrilled you were here. Tonight, there's another reason I'm really excited, and that is, picture it, I'm 8 years old, and I was in love with this singing person named Sandi Patty. And I didn't know much about her, but I had that cassette, that More Than Wonderful cassette. I probably tore it up, man, many times. And then I got into all of the accompaniment tracks, and I was trying to shriek along with them as the accompaniment track, but I was kind of a soprano then, and then my voice changed. And so no more shrieking along with things so much. But I would say that she's probably one of my first voice teachers, even though she and I never really met until a few years ago. So imagine that 8-year-old mindset. On one day, I pick her up from a hotel. We go shopping to get some earrings for her concert, and she's warming up in my car, and I just started chuckling, and she was like, I know, I'm warming up, and I said, no, it's not that, but if you had told my 8-year-old self that I would pick Sandi Patty up, go shopping for earrings, have her warm up in my car, she had dinner at my house, because a whole nother long story, and then I was singing backup on her concert that night. Yeah, that's just a story that doesn't happen, and yet I get to tell that story, and it happened. And also, if I'm talking really fast, it's because I'm excited to welcome the incredible Sandi Patty. Sandi, welcome.
Hi, Mike. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for having me on.
Well, we are so glad you made the time to come back with us. We were supposed to have you our opening night, and then you had just emergency central, and we're glad that you are okay and back with us.
All is well. So, yeah, thank you. I've been reminiscing fondly of my times with you all, and just hate that we couldn't actually be together this year. It's been a strange year, but I'm so glad you included me on these gatherings.
Well, you were so nice. Sandi, for those of you who don't know, has been in the area 3 times, particularly with the symphony. The first time was a Christmas program with the symphony out at Temple Baptist Church. The second time was again at Temple Baptist Church, where we did the Broadway album, and then we did the farewell tour at Main Street Baptist Church. All 3 amazing concerts, really, really fun times. But what you may not know is that Sandi has had her own battle with COVID-19. And so, Sandi, what's been up with you? And I'm glad you're better, obviously. So what's happening?
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad I'm better. And, it is a crazy thing. Early in March, my husband and I both were diagnosed positive. And I had left for the weekend to do a couple of dates on Friday. And when I came back on Monday, I just was not feeling well at all. Went to the doctor, and they sent us to the emergency room. Weren't a lot of the tests at all. So it was like I drew the short straw, so I got the test. And early on, I just felt that it was really important to sort of tell people this thing is real. And I mean, I can see how people would end up on ventilators. And Don had a itchy cough and a fever. I had a fever, and I described this to people like I felt like somebody was taking their elbow and literally jamming it into my sternum as hard as they could for days. And you can see people in the hospital in intensive care on a ventilator. So we took it very seriously, and we are thankfully on the other side of it.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad you're on the other side of it as well. And I know there's so many people out there who have loved ones they've lost, loved ones who are sick, and we're all with you. And I think that's one of the great things about sort of what we're able to do here with Festival South, streaming for the first time ever, is hopefully bring a little cheer and something different to think about for about an hour, a couple of nights a week. And so we thank you for being part of that, and we're glad you're well. So what is something, you've been in sort of a lockdown, I'm assuming as well, like all the rest of us. So what is something you miss? What is something you're looking forward to, too?
Well, I tell you, our story is not like, a lot of people's, we have adult children who have little kids. And I cannot imagine being sequestered with little ones right now. So my heart really goes out to parents who've had to be the school teachers and the lunch ladies and the PE teacher and all of that. For us, we are empty nesters. So it really forced us to just stop, just put our life on pause. And I tend to like people to all be okay. And so I will sacrifice my well-being a lot of times to make sure everybody else is okay. And it was really one of the first times I was able to kind of take care of myself guilt-free, if that makes sense, and to watch movies together. And Don and I would hang out, and after we got to feeling better, truly, truly enjoyed our time of being sort of quiet.
Well, we've had a lot of performers on and a lot of singers and instrumentalists and dancers, and one of the common themes that they've had is that even though if they weren't sick, once they got past the sort of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with my life? We were talking just before we went on air that, a lot of people say, oh, well, we're opening up and things are going back. For a lot of performing artists, that's not the case, whether that be with churches sometimes that they perform, or, symphonies and ballets and musicals and dancers and things where people have to get together and touch. That's just not an option, and it's not looking good right now for the near future. And if that's how they make their money, the light bills become really a difficult issue. And so it's been a rough time, but I think a lot of them have sort of agreed that what they're coming out of this with is sort of an appreciation and a chance to sort of rejuvenate and rethink how they did everything and what's really core important to you as well. So,
I would absolutely agree with that. And I've been challenging people, and I just want to challenge everybody that's kind of watching and listening. What do you want to keep from this season? We talk a lot about, we can't wait to do this, can't wait to do that. But there are some things that we found in this season that I want to keep.
We're still here.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Our Wi-Fi is really crazy, so.
And we're having sort of a storm here, believe it or not. So it may be like a little skippy, but I think we're good.
Okay. But thinking about the things that we want to keep, sometimes I think we pack our days so full that we miss being in the moment. And so I challenge you all with that sort of question. What do you want to keep from this season? Some of you may say absolutely nothing, and that's very valid. And also, I want to just remind everybody that as music is an art and a gift, even though performances are happening right now, don't forget to sing every day. Don't forget to play your instrument. Don't forget to make music, even in the tough times, because so often music has given voice where words cannot. And so we need the music of this world, even if it's just for my little world here in my office. I need music. And so I try to warm up every day and just keep singing, because there'll be a time we will get back together and sing. And I want to be sure that, I haven't rested too much.
Yes, we want to make that happen. I think that needs to happen as soon as we can. So we're getting a couple of questions online for you, and somebody's asking, can you name for us 3 of your favorite songs that you enjoy singing? That's hard. You have a catalog, and it may not be your own song. It may be others.
Yeah. I think that one of my all-time favorites to sing is His Eye is on the Sparrow. That's just I love that song. I've always loved that song. The chorus is, I sing because I'm happy. I sing because I'm free. And I couldn't always sing that, understanding the depth of that lyric. I love anything Broadway. My favorite songs to sing is from A Little Night Music, and that's Sending the Clowns. That's just one of my absolute favorites. And I like when our family gets to sing together. That's one of my very favorite things as well.
Well, one of the things we've been thinking about, it mills around in my head, is my parents, and I watched it too. We all watched sort of the Gaither Homecoming Hour. That was a regular thing. And I also remember when we used to
Yeah.
do that, before a million channels of cable and all the things that we have, we
Right.
would get around a piano and sing, and we would have friends over and get around a piano and sing. And we sort of still in my friend group, we haven't done it in a while, but we have what we call a hoot nanny, and hoot means sing, and
Love it.
nanny means bring food. So we
Now,
would eat
oh,
and sing,
yes.
and people would play the piano, and that was our entertainment. So for those of us also who don't get a chance to either watch a whole lot of TV because we're in rehearsal, or we're rehearsing such specific things for whatever show or whatever performance we're in, just to sing whatever you want and just to not worry about it being flawless, perfect, whatever, just going to have fun and sing to
Exactly.
sing is so fulfilling.
It, it is so cool. It really is. It's wonderful.
So we talked also about the arts, and the arts are so important right now. A little bit about, it's a hard time for artists now. Talk to us about like the arts in your area, your experience. You get to tour all over the world and all over the country. Um, just
Not
about
right
the
now,
arts
though.
importance. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
fond memories at the moment and things to look forward to.
Very much. And I'm a big fan of the arts, and I'm a big fan of education. And I know you all do so much with partnering with things in the community, and I love that. But I think the arts, if you look through history, have always been probably the most accurate description of a community or in a season or in a generation. And I think it's going to be interesting when we come out of this season. What is the art that is going to be birthed out of this year of illness, this year of learning to see people differently, and revere and affirm those who don't look like us? We have been challenged a lot this year, and it is a great opportunity for the art and the art community, music, and all of it, to be able to put a stamp on this season to, to the future generations what this season has been like.
Yes, with great times comes great art. And what is it? The Kennedy quote is, "With the great struggles come great art," and I believe that's going to be really true now. So I would be remiss,
Yeah.
since you gave it away before we started, y'all. She's sitting at a piano, and she actually plays. If you don't know, she actually plays piano. So that's a whole nother side of it. But maybe you can give us a little play out before we say goodnight to you.
Well, I would love to. There is a song kind of twirling around in my head these days. Sometimes we sing out of aspiration, sometimes we sing out of inspiration. Sometimes we hope these things are true, sometimes we know them to be true. And so this song just is kind of in my heart in both ways right now. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and also the people passing by. I pray hands, saying how do you do? They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch mine grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. As I think to myself, in spite of all of it, we've got a wonderful
There are no more words. Thank you so much, Sandy Patty, for being with us this evening. You are wonderful.
My pleasure.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Take care of
Blessings
yourself.
on you.
Tell the family hello.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Sure will. Bye-bye.
Well, I have nothing to say after that, so we could almost end tonight, and I think we'd be okay. But we have so much more to come. The other thing is, as we've been doing, if you like and share and comment on our post, we will find somebody by the end of the night to win a $50 gift card to Crescent City. A whole new level of what's coming up. Coming up in just a minute is John Madeir. He is a looper, and I told you I'd tell you a little bit more about that. That is where you can process electronic sounds that you can repeat over and over, and that's becoming more and more prominent in music, and not just electronic music or something you would think of as progressive music, but even just your favorite country musician maybe many times can use a looping machine to create some really interesting sounds by themselves. So you're going to get to see a demonstration of that and hear from John Madeir right after this.
And people stayed home and read books and listened and they rested and did exercises and made art and played and learned new ways of being and stopped and listened more deeply. Someone meditated, someone prayed, someone met their shadow, and people began to think differently, and people healed. And in the absence of people who lived in ignorant ways, dangerous, meaningless, and heartless, the earth also began to heal. And when the danger ended and people found themselves, they grieved for the dead and made new choices and dreamed of new visions and created new ways of living and completely healed the earth, just as they were healed.
Hi, FestivalSouth fans. This is John Madeir. I hope that you guys are all doing well through this corona outbreak. I'm here today to give you guys a glimpse into what you will see at my show that is tentatively scheduled for June 21st, 2021. So that would be next year's festival. I do a live looping show which consists of a looper pedal, lots of different guitar pedals and effects, drum machines, synthesizers, guitars, bass, lots of different things. And I am building songs as you see them. So I may start off with a drum loop and then add the guitar, add the bass, kind of go back and forth, add some solos, things like that on top. Lots of atmospheric sounds, lots of ambient. I call my project Jambient because has ambient tones to it, but also has the sense of a groove and drums and bass. Bass is my main instrument. Some of you may have remember seeing me perform at FestivalSouth in the past. I've performed with the chamber orchestra several times. So next, I have a clip of a song that I wrote called Distant Learning. It's something that all music teachers are having to deal with while we are distance learning, teaching our students through different social media platforms and things like that. So I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that I get to see you at my show next year. Be safe.
technology is just fascinating. We've learned so much just with streaming and all, but the looping demonstration, hopefully Jeff will be back with us next summer, as many of our artists will be, to show us more about how that works in a live setting. But it's just fascinating to me what you can accomplish just by yourself in a room, as so many of us have had to learn. Joining me now is an artist who is going to perform with us on the organ, the Holtkamp organ, in Marsh Auditorium at the Southern Miss campus. We've enjoyed an amazing time with great keyboardists, thanks to some local donors and sponsors, and Teresa Sanchez helps us with all that music, getting that put together. Please welcome Jeff McClelland. Jeff, good evening. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
We were so excited to have another organ concert. Organs, I think unless you're in the room, you cannot appreciate the sound and magnificence of an organ, but also what it takes to really play one well, which you do. I remember back in the times of going to recitals of Dr. Anderson, and even in more recent times with some of our festival recitals, just, I can hardly coordinate my hands on a piano keyboard. Nevertheless, multiple keyboards, stops, feet moving, all of that. I mean, that's a lot of, patting your head, rubbing your stomach kind of craziness that I can't do. Tell us a little bit more about yourself for those who may not know you.
Well, I'm a native of Hattiesburg. I graduated from Southern Miss in 1981 and studied with Dr. Anderson there. And I came back after going to Eastman School of Music for a master's degree and taught at William Carey College for about 15 years. So while there played at, I grew up on Street United Methodist Church, which is now Heritage United Methodist out in West Hattiesburg. But when I was teaching at Carey, I played the organ at Temple Baptist and also at First Presbyterian for all the time that I was there. So, but now, since 2000, I've lived in Birmingham and am the director of music and fine arts and organist at Independent Presbyterian Church, and just really enjoy being there. You'll see the organ on the video that we're going to play that I'm going to perform on. That's one interesting thing about organists and pianists. We don't get to generally take our instruments with us when we go out to perform. We have to play there at the venue where we're performing. So the organ that I will be playing on the video is the organ from Independent Presbyterian.
Well, I was going to say, it's not like many of the other musicians like myself that can sort of just take their instrument and go. And, we were talking earlier about multiple keyboards and your feet and all. So what has quarantine life been like for you? What have you been up to? How do you practice? Some interesting things like that. I mean, I don't think people really appreciate, you didn't bring the organ home with you.
No, but even though the church is closed to the parishioners, I still go in and practice at the church every week. And we're still doing online services on Sunday. I have to do the performances and play for the worship services. And also, we don't have full choir anymore, but we'll have like 4 to 6 people come and sing in the worship service. So I'm still working with some of the choral singers. We take every precaution that we can. I have them standing, 10 to 20 feet apart from each other and singing out into a distance, not towards each other. So it's just kind of nice where that works. Luckily, we have a space that accommodates that.
So I've been asking everybody this question. So what are you looking forward to? What do you miss? What are those kind of things like for you? What are you missing right now? What are you looking forward to when we sort of get past this, hopefully sooner than later?
Well, I look forward the most to getting my choir back and having getting back into a live choral situation. It may be quite a while before we can do that, but I know the choir is really missing being with each other and singing together. There's something about singing that's different than anything because we are all trying to be one instrument, and that's a wonderful thing, part of an ensemble to be. It's a wonderful experience to have. So that's what I miss most about quarantine. But we're still getting our groceries delivered, that's for sure.
We've all learned lots of new tips and tricks. I mean, from technology to what can be delivered and what can happen. It's really sort of been fascinating. And as Sandy Patty was saying earlier, it's one of those mark down what you're enjoying, what you can take with you from all of this. Because obviously we're all learning lots of lessons, both good and bad. And sometimes, as I always like to say, you can learn more from the bad sometimes than you can from the good. So what you can take with it is important. So you work in a church group that your title lends itself to being over many arts aspects, what's happening. And I think you're in a unique position to be able to speak to how the arts are really important in the healing process, in the recovery process, in the sort of mental day-to-day of what everybody's been dealing with recently. So how do the arts and even events like Festival South or any kind of gathering, church gatherings, et cetera, help with that, in your opinion?
I think it's very important to the health of the mental health and the spiritual health of anybody who comes in and participates in an arts event. One of the things we get to do at IPC is have a religious arts festival every year. So I'm having people come in for a week in February and present all the different arts, whether it's drama, dance, music, of course, and poetry. And it's been, there's the visual arts and the culinary arts. We have a fabulous banquet that goes along with the whole thing. So I'm so proud of my hometown Hattiesburg and USM for continuing the artistic development in Hattiesburg. I think Festival South is a wonderful thing to have and to support, both with your presence and with your monetary gifts. So again, kudos to all of you guys for all the hard work you're doing in keeping the arts alive in South Mississippi.
Well, thank you so very much. We appreciate that, and we appreciate you sharing with us the video that you sent us. One other thing, the concert, as we talked about earlier, was supposed to be a celebration of, was it the 50th anniversary? It's the 50th anniversary of the Holt Camp
Right.
organ in Marsh Auditorium. And I know you talked to Dr. Anderson a little earlier, who was sort of there for that whole installation process. Tell us a little bit about the significance of that and what the organ is like and whatever else you can think to tell us about this anniversary, which, by the way, even though it may not be the 50th, will be 51. We're all about celebrating that next year anyway. So
the Holt Camp was dedicated in 1970, and there were several recitals played by Dr. Anderson and students and former students. The main came in was Russell Saunders, who incidentally was Dr. Anderson's teacher from Drake University and ended up being my professor at Eastman School of Music. So there's a lot of I guess nepotism, I guess you could say, that goes on with that. But he was one of the greatest teachers in the world at that time, and so I'm sure that was wonderful. Now in 1970, I was 11 years old, so I wasn't there at the organ recitals or the dedication. But this Holt Camp organ is a great example of American classic style organ building. It was, I think, Dr. Anderson, it cost $60,000 to put in 1967. That was the contract. $60,000 in '67 is about $260,000 today. Oh, excuse me, $460,000 today. But if you went to replace that organ today, it would be at least 3 times that much, because organ building is such an expensive ordeal, but organs were built to last, and like this one has now for 50 years.
if you've not experienced the organ in Marsh Hall, it's really something special. It's such a small, intimate space, and the organ is literally the stage. It is the bulk of that building. And we're fortunate in this town to have some really wonderful organs in other buildings that we have toured to, and we look forward to being back on Marsh Auditorium stage with you in 2021. Jeff, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we're going to hear.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We're going to hear more from Jeff in just a minute. Again, if you're enjoying what you're seeing, if you've enjoyed what you've seen previous to this, if you're joining us later than the live stream on Facebook or on YouTube, please take a moment to share this video, like this video, love this video, make a comment. And for those of you commenting live tonight, we're going to find somebody to give away a $50 gift card to Crescent City. We appreciate you being here. And now we're going to enjoy some organ music from Jeff, and we'll be right back after that.
Hello, my name is Jeff McClellan. I'm the Director of Music and Fine Arts and organist at Independent Presbyterian Church in Birmingham, Alabama. I'm a graduate from University of Southern Mississippi from 1981, and even though FestivalSouth was canceled for this year, I am looking forward to coming next year to play an organ recital in Marsh Auditorium. The piece I'm going to play for you today is called Festival Voluntary by Flor Peters.
Kelsey Wishick. I'm a Mississippi native from the Gulf Coast. Well, I was excited to be asked to participate in Festival South, and of course the first thing that I was thinking about with how to connect with the concept was my experience with Hattiesburg. I've spent a lot of time on the Leaf River in the woods, playing music myself, and I always kind of have this like myth that I tell myself about this man in the river who's perpetually playing music for all of time. And I've done several paintings and drawings of this river myth man, and kind of showed up again in this work. I thought it would be interesting to give him a kind of unique instrument. So he's playing the banjo-lele, a little small banjo-ukulele mix. And I kind of worked with the idea of the appearance of kinky boots in the festival to just give him these vibrant boots to ground him into the river. So he's very much a part of nature and participating in the landscape. And that's kind of how I spent my time here in Hattiesburg, always outside, enjoying the beauty that is offered here. So the color in this painting, it actually came in response to an actual sunrise that I experienced as I was starting to conceive this idea. I was really struck by this kind of lemon yellow that happened one morning. I don't think I've ever seen that color before in real life until that day. And it became this kind of surreal experience that I was having, and that I wanted maybe the viewer to be able to touch into. So it's just this really vibrant springtime, early springtime colors, and kind of just pushing that surreal moment of being integrated with everything. So like there's this swooping, like he's kind of swooping into the trees are becoming into the atmosphere, so everything is connected in a way. And I wanted to play with that with the colors too. So even his jeans, his shirt, it becomes kind of atmospheric, or like the river, like the landscape. So trying to push that connection. I'm always thinking about the nature of water and the fluidity of water and the contrasting nature of the different elements. But I feel always quite drawn to water and that kind of ability for it to reflect our stories and our moments. And I always think of water when I'm in Hattiesburg for some reason because of the rivers. When I think of creativity in relationship to the pandemic, my experience has been to, take an initial pause and assess what is most important to me as a creator, not to just create compulsively. So it's been actually a really beautiful time to step back and reintegrate into the vision process of creativity. So obviously sometimes it just comes and it flows, and other times it really starts with how I feel like creativity starts with how we see life and how an artist sees life. So I've been really cultivating that direct contact with the places that I'm in, the kind of empathy that I feel for the situation, and allowing it to slow down a little bit. So, yeah, I always think of creativity as a kind of technology of what we can create with what we have. So in that way, I also think this time has really brought us back to what is essential. It's not always about maybe the product or the object or the show, but also that kind of fulfillment and relationship with the medium directly. We're kind of coming from this time, the past few years have been really hard with all the challenges we're facing with minorities, Me Too movement, just everything's kind of come up in the past few years. And I feel like it's been a kind of time of lamenting. And I hope that on the other side of this, that we can come to really celebrate the sacredness of diversity in life and spread more color and light through our art.
And people stayed home and read books and listened and they rested and did exercises and made art and played and learned new ways of being and stopped and listened more deeply. Someone meditated, someone prayed, someone met their shadow, and people began to think differently, and people healed. And in the absence of people who lived in ignorant ways, dangerous, meaningless, and heartless, the earth also began to heal. And when the danger ended and people found themselves, they grieved for the dead and made new choices and dreamed of new visions and created new ways of living and completely healed the earth, just as they were healed.
This is your last week with us for Festival South. Oh my gosh, have we missed you being alive? And we were talking today and last night with some of our staff that, it's just a whole different world. I'm equally as tired, but not from seeing people and being constantly going, and we miss it. We really do. This is also your last week to bid on the exquisite painting by Kelsey Wishick. I'm telling you, until you see it up close, it's beautiful. Please visit FestivalSouth.org and bid on that today. Share it with somebody you know that would love a really special piece of art, because it's a really unusual year and it's sort of on its own out there, and every penny goes to help Festival South. We'd like to thank also Jeff McClellan and John Madeir, and especially Sandy Patty for coming back on tonight and just thrilling us and filling our lives with music. Thank you to all of our Festival South staff and to the Hattiesburg Concert Association that makes this possible. And also, again, thank you. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to visit FestivalSouth.org and click on the big red button and give anything you can for our COVID-19 fundraising. The money goes to help us continue what we're doing with Festival South whenever the next time is we can get together, and even until then helps us make things possible for so many artists and arts in our community. Tonight, we are giving a gift card for $50 to Crescent City to Elizabeth Bush Foreman. Congratulations, Elizabeth. If you'll send us a message, we'll get your info from you and we'll get that to you soon. This Thursday, our next to last performance, can you believe it? Please join us as Sam and Jennifer Bruton chat and perform. Harlan Mapp is singing a classic show tune, and the wonderful Dave Brubeck 100th anniversary mini documentary that will show you about Dave Brubeck, the amazing jazz musician he was. It's really, really fun. You're going to want to be there. Finally, I'd like to ask you to please, between now and our next time, really listen to someone, truly learn from them, and love everyone. Good night.